I'm confident that we can really help people. So akimel.com, set up a consultation and see what we can do to help you with your foreclosure. But I'll go more into it later in the show. But as always, we have to do our spiritual talk, our spiritual message. Um, I always tell you guys that it's about you and what you're dealing with. It's all on you. It's not about the other person. It's not about the situation. It's about you and how you react to these situations, how you perceive them is what going to dictate the outcome. There's no getting around accountability. The whole story of Adam and Eve was about accountability. They had a choice of eating from a tree. And, I have my theory, I have that whole Adam and Eve eating of the forbidden fruit it has several meanings to it. But on the surface meaning, they got caught out there and they started to blame others for why they took the actions that they did. That's the basic knowledge of it. On the more, what do you call the first level, the physical level? They didn't take responsibility. They chose to do something. Adam blamed the wife blamed the snake, and so on and so forth. And then, blame Adam said to God, well, it's this woman you gave me, and this is why I did what I did. If you never gave me this woman, I would have never had this problem. Instead of saying, you gave me this woman and I chose to listen to her voice over your instructions, who I saw you create, both of us, or, I experienced that firsthand. If you believe Adam was the first creation, that's from that point of view. That's subject to interpretation, but it's a higher spiritual meaning in that whole story altogether. But the one I'm talking about is accountability. A lot of people, what I deal with every week is individuals who do not want to take responsibility for what's happening in their life. And it may not be good. It may not be a good experience. But once you take accountability and say, okay, I am the reason why I'm here, then you can deal with it better. Yes, the other person could be wrong all day. They could have done something. They could have did something to you that is not right, not ethical, not honorable. But still, it's your choice to contract into the feeling of being negative about it or thinking negative about them. What you put out is what you get back, right? If you think negative, you're going to get more negative in return. It's a very hard thing to not think negative about someone who you feel did something wrong to you. So how do you counteract that? You have to rise above that feeling and say, you know what, I'm learning. This is a process. I'm learning from it. And not expect anything from the other person, but expect everything from yourself, that you're going to turn this around and have good feelings about it. Sometimes you have to make yourself feel good about it. You have to feel, uplift yourself. And then from that, then you'll draw more uplifting feelings from that. But it's still about you and choosing to contract with the feeling of being positive or negative. There is no getting around that. You can try to, what Reverend Ike said, it's so high you can't get over it, and it's so low you can't get under it. You can't get around that. It's all about your responsibility and what you're going to do for yourself and how you're going to make it a positive experience. And remember, you can't make people do the right thing. You can't make people do the wrong thing. It's all on them. They have to make those choices. It's up to you to choose to deal with that or not. So many things people want, they want good things for themselves, but the reason why they don't get it is because they're thinking negative about those good things. You know, what you have right now is a direct result of how you feel or think about it previously to the time to the experience that you are receiving. So remember, you are the God of your life. You are the Lord over it. It's your choices that's bringing you your experience. No way around it. So accept that, be accountable, and watch things happen in your favor. Actually, things are happening in your favor. It's just you don't like it. You don't like it's happening. You don't like that it's happening in your favor. You see, we want to accept all of that good stuff when it's happening great, and you want to brag about, hey, I'm having a great time. But when that bad stuff, you don't say, well, this is working in my favor too, because I believed in it. It was my thoughts, my mental processes that brought me everything. So everything's working for the good of the will of you, of God, or the Lord. You're the Lord over your life. I know the Bible, people in church said, no, you can't be God. You can't be Jesus. You're below them. You're beneath them. That's another lie. You're not. Because Christ said you would do greater things anyway. He did say that. He said you would do way better than me. When I talked about the Tower of Babel yesterday, the so-called Lord of that time knew you would be better. So he had to counteract that and said, we got to stop these people. We got to confuse their language, scatter them around so they can be totally confused as to who they are and what their real power. So that means that they knew that you had the power to be bigger than them. So-called God, so-called Lord of that time knew that we have the ability to ascend to a greater power than them. Do I need to read that again? The Tower of Babel? Do I need to read that again? I read that yesterday. Let's see if I still have it up. Yeah, I do. I still have it up. I think it's worth sharing that again. I'm not going to read the whole thing like I did yesterday. I'll go to 5. It said, but the Lord came down to see the city. He came down. Where did he come from? Yeah, I've thought about these scriptures. They said the Lord came down, like he was physically came down to see the city and the tower the people were building. The Lord said, if as one people speaking the same language, they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other. See, another boardroom meeting, another showing the elites planning to hinder you from your power. He said, let us. Who is he talking to? Let us come down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other. How did they do that? They had some type of technology. They probably did it over time. Created what I told you yesterday, I think it was public education system, some type of teaching and alternate ideas. Like even in this community, you have people who teach different things about different processes. I really believe that a lot of people that are out there teaching are either there are conscious agents or unconscious agents of these so-called lords that I'm talking about in the Bible. Because as long as you're getting misinformation, they're satisfied. As long as you're distracted by something other than what is really the truth, they stay in power. And he said, so the Lord scattered them from there all over the earth, and they stopped building the city. So what happened? They got confused. They started arguing amongst each other. Isn't that kind of what's happened now? Maybe the Tower of Babel is like in full effect right now. We are still experiencing the Tower of Babel effect because somebody believes this, they believe that. We're fighting. No one is agreeing. No one can get along. They said the first franchise opened in 1952. So he was 71 years old. And why can't you do that? Do something. 71. But here's it. Before he got to that point, he was doing other things. Do you think that he thought he was going to have a Kentucky Fried Chicken franchise? He just was serving. He just decided. This is how ideas work. He decided to have a filling station, which is a gas station, and serve food. And he used recipes from his childhood that he learned and was serving that. It morphed into the franchise after many years. So I said 37, 52 was when the first franchise opened up. And that's how all ideas work. It starts somewhere and then it ends up this big idea. But it started off with a little idea, bunch of little ideas put together. That's why I said there is no excuses, because most people, when they want to do something, they're thinking about, I want to be where Kentucky Fried Chicken is today. Well, if you want to be where Kentucky Fried Chicken is today, you have to put in some time and effort and some years, because that's what it took to get there. Testing. All right. Sounds like my mic is working. All right. What's up, everybody? Peace, peace, peace. How y'all doing? All right. We're going to talk about this DEI stuff, this psyop, this distraction that everybody's running down. They're saying Trump is getting rid of DEI. Oh, God. You know. But first, I do have a seminar coming up in New York, March 1st and the 2nd. That's only in a few days. If you are on my Telegram channel, the link is there. I'm going to send another email. I sent emails out earlier, I think last week. And as I was telling y'all before, I had some issues. Let me get my Telegram pulled up here. And let me get to the invite. How do I invite? Where's the invite? Y'all can go there. If you're not part of my channel, you can do that. You can join in. All right, Telegram, where you at? I don't know why I always forget how to give this link. There we go. There we go. There's the share link. I'm gonna put it in here in the chat. That's not exactly how I wanted it to do. It's not the actual link. That's the well, maybe it is. Well, if you go to Telegram, you'll find it. So, main topic of that seminar is going to be on trust. And the other topics is dealing with debt, student loan eliminations. What else did I say? I was going to talk about nationality, of course. You know, I got to go on that. I'm going to be bringing some some relatively new information that I haven't shared. I always share my new stuff in the seminars, then I bring it after that, into my private membership class. I'm considering, I want a consensus. If you are on my Telegram channel, just send a message in Telegram. I'm thinking about, I want to set up another type of membership, a little cheaper. It doesn't come with the weekly classes, but it'll have useful information in there that you can study, like a study group, and where people can share ideas back and forth. Of course, I know that's going to bring a lot of problems of its own. People bringing, reject processes. I'll know it. And when I see it, it'll be just removed. But I'll be uploading some templates, things to read, things to study. Because I think what it is, especially for new people, even some old people, they just don't know where to start. So I'm going to do that. I mean, it's going to be like a $20 a month, $19.99, something like that. And I'll keep it. And when I first open it up, I'm just flooded with a whole bunch of information. So that's what I'm going to do. But what was I going to talk about? DEI, this whole, I don't know why people get caught up in these psyops. Oh, he's getting rid of DEI. It was a diversity, equity, inclusion. I mean, do y'all understand that the president do not pass laws? Congress is the one that makes the laws. DEI was never an act of Congress. And when you understand what DEI really is, it is a form of discrimination, because it's saying you need to base your hires off these groups. And then there was some pastor, I don't know how new the information was, but somebody sent me a video. You know what? I'm gonna let y'all hear the video. Somebody sent it to me. I'm gonna let y'all hear this because it's just ridiculous. But you need to hear it. How they want to boycott Target on the 28th, right? And someone sent me this video and wanted to know what I thought. So I'm gonna play it. See if y'all can hear it. Let me turn the music down. I think the music is too loud. Hang on. Yeah, it probably was too loud. Hang on. Turn it down. So I turned that down. So let me get this video up.
Well, the folks at We Are Somebody, go by the Strike for All on social media, started their boycott of Target on Saturday. We had, of course, Anina Turner, this is our organization, had her on the show on Friday. But on Sunday at New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Atlanta, Reverend Jamal. So listen to what he announced yesterday.
Calling the conscientious Christian community all over this country, the conscientious Christian community all over this country, I am calling for a 40-day fast from Target. Beginning on March the 5th. 100,000 conscientious Christians. You don't have to be black, Latino, Asian, white, 100,000. You're going to sign this commitment to be a part of this 40-day fast. 100,000 of you bare minimal. I'm asking you that after service you'll go to targetfast.org. Targetfast.org. I want you to share with everybody on your job. every person in your home, every person in your sphere of influence, every person who follows you on social media. I am believing for 100,000 people are going to sign this covenant commitment of not just prayer, but fasting from Target. Here's what is amazing. Listen to me, because what we learned from the Montgomery bus boycott is that racist America doesn't respond to speeches. They respond to dollars. Come on, and if they start losing $29 million a day for 40 days, we will break the back of the system. I want to go on record that not only am I asking you to fast for 40 days from Target, I am telling you to sell all of your Target stock. I want the stock to go down because we are standing in righteous indignation against racism and sexism in this nation. I hear the naysayers, I hear the pundits, I hear those who are detractors saying, how will this impact our black businesses? I'm glad you asked. You at New Birth, you're not at that church. So as a consequence, when it is that you register to be a part of this 40-day fast, we have come into partnership with the National Black Chamber of Commerce. National Black Chamber of Commerce CEO is here with us on the day. Brother Busby, would you please stand? Thank you so very much for being with us from Washington, D.C.
The reason why we needed a solution like vanilla is that, number one,
All right. I believe that was enough to look at. I mean, to hear. I don't know how old that video is. I wasn't paying attention, but because they want to get rid of DEI and people are saying that it's actual, it's a law. It's not a law. It's not. I mean, you still have the civil rights laws that are still in effect. There's so many laws out there that are protecting uh people's interests. Now, they still can't discriminate based on race, color, creed, religious beliefs, and many other things, right? They can't do that. That's why we have the civil rights laws. But I don't understand why a black church would be so invested in this. Well, I do understand. It's pure ignorance. He doesn't understand what DEI is all about. And he hasn't really done the stats to realize DEI doesn't really help black folks. So you got black folks fighting for the rights of other people because the number one benefactor of DEI is the white woman. The second benefactor is the white male. The third benefactor is the LGBT community. The blacks are way at the bottom when it comes to how it helps them. See, this is one of those things where because we don't understand how things work and we take up battles that are not even ours to fight. And another thing is pure ignorance. You don't understand how laws are written or enacted and enforced. A president cannot abolish laws, period. Can't do it. And here's the thing. The other problem he's got is his church. Let me see if I can find the document I'm looking for. All right. This church, right, is a 501c3 tax exempt organization. The status allows the church to operate as a nonprofit entity. See, it says it allows them. A church is already a nonprofit from its inception, its creation. But once they do the 501c3 paperwork, it takes that privilege or that right, and it converts it into a privilege that can be revoked. Right? Nonprofit entity and enables donors to make tax deductible contributions. However, it's important to note that 501c3 organizations are prohibited from participating in political campaigns. Meaning, by him announcing boycotts and things like that, the IRS can come and take his tax exempt status away because that church filled out for the privilege to be tax exempt. They gave them a privilege, and the only privilege they really gave them was the fact that that church would be listed on the IRS website as a tax exempt organization. Understand this: once you create your church, you don't do the paperwork. It's a private entity, private but public, meaning the public can come and join your church, anyone, right? But it's private when it comes to the government, or foreign when it comes to the government. They are mandatory. It's mandatory that they are not included with other nonprofits to have tax exempt status for the privilege. Their privileged churches, temples, synagogues, and mosques come with a right of tax exemption. But once he filled out for that, he put him under himself under the jurisdiction where they can say, well, you're promoting politics, so we can come and take your tax exempt status. And what they do is, in most cases, they go back to the date of creation of the church, no longer tax exempt, and we're going to come and get all that money, essentially putting them out of business. I do realize church is a business, right? Church is a business. Now they're gonna. Then he said, "Oh, sell all your stock," giving financial advice. So I would never. What if that stock goes up? Oh, we're gonna try to tank the stock, man. Listen, it's and then let's see. In October 2024, the Freedom from Religion Foundation filed a complaint with the IRS alleging that New Birth Missionary Baptist Church engaged in political campaigning by hosting Vice President Kamala Harris and encouraging Congress to vote, potentially violating these regulations. So they already had a complaint filed against them. Freedom of Religion Foundation. I never heard of this place. They went to the IRS. I suspect this Freedom for Religion. What is this Freedom from Religion Foundation? What is that? Let's find out. Let's see what that is. Come on. Let's see what that organization. So the Freedom of Religion Foundation is a nonprofit organization in the United States that advocates for the separation of church and state and promotes atheism, secularism, and free thought. So it was founded in 1976 by Ann Nicole Gaylor and her daughter, Ann Lori Gaylor, and based in Madison, Wisconsin. Mission and activities. So these people ratted them out. This is not even a government, it's a nonprofit. Wow. FFRF's primary focus is ensuring that government institutions remain secular and do not promote religious beliefs. Some of its main activities include legal challenges, frequently files lawsuits against government entities that it believes are violating the establishment clause of the First Amendment, such as removing religious symbols, crosses, Ten Commandments displays from public property, challenging government funding of religious organizations, stopping government officials from endorsing religion in their official capacities, education efforts. The foundation educates the public about secular values through publications, online resources, and advocacy. The organization lobbies for laws and policies that uphold the separation of church and state. So I take it this organization is a Trump supporter. Notable lawsuits in action. FFRA has successfully sued various government agencies and officials for promoting religious practices. It has challenged school-led prayers, religious messages in public schools, the use of public funds for religious purposes, membership and support. So they went after a church by filing a complaint with the IRS. Wow. Trust me, I can assume that this is not a black run organization. Okay. And they see a clip and then they send the IRS on them. And the thing about it, they're give me a second. All right, so let's talk about DEI. Let's give you some facts. Let me see, where's my chat at? Chat. Not it. All right, there we go. Somebody said turn up my mic volume. It is up. You guys can hear me pretty good. But somebody said turn up the volume. My mic is way up, and I'm speaking in the mic. All right. Yeah, and I'm looking at my levels here. They're pretty good. So I'm not sure. How's that sound before I start digging into DEI? Hey, after this, I'm going to get on TikTok. I'm going to send y'all my TikTok, and then we're going to have a discussion about the Tower of Babel. Oh, somebody said it's good sound. Thanks. All right, DEI. It says here on the DEI front, it says DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion is not a single law, but rather a broad concept. It's a broad concept, y'all, that influences various laws, policy, and workplace initiatives. However, there are several laws and regulations in the U.S. that promote DEI principles by prohibiting discrimination and encouraging diversity in workplaces, education, and other institutions. Some of these include key laws related to DEI, Civil Rights Act of 1964, right? That's Title VII. Prohibits employment discriminate based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. So we already had laws in place for this purpose. Didn't need DEI. Equal Pay Act of 1963 requires that men and women be paid equally for the same work. Do y'all think when they did the Equal Pay of 1963 that it was a law that was enacted for the benefit of black folks? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Why? Because the civil rights didn't get enacted until 1964. So it was for white women who were in the workforce who decided that they didn't want to be at home anymore and they wanted to work. And why did white women want to work now? Because they were being advertised or propagandized about being at home and working for your family is slavery, or it's beneath them. That's what happened, and it was only a something that they promoted to get two taxpayers in the same home. Two taxpayers in the same home. That's it. All of these things like DEI, all of these things were promoting number one from distraction, from you paying attention to your own life and making things work for yourself instead of worrying about the government do it. So we're spending time talking about DEI and how Trump's wrong, he's right, whatever. It's all. Do y'all realize they got, since the year started, it's been one major distraction after the other, and if you're not careful and not paying attention, it's really slowing you down in your goals. Don't y'all feel that heavy energy that's weighing down you feel like it's harder now to get your stuff done? Things that you were, doing with effortlessly last year, now it just seems a little bit harder. Ever since this man took office, it's like something happened. I know what happened. Clouds of confusion came out there. Everybody's confused. Eggs skyrocketed. A dozen of eggs that was $3, $3 to $4 now is almost $10 for one dozen. I was looking at something I bought. Oh, my soundboard that I bought a couple of years ago, and I saw it on Amazon, almost double what I paid for it. I said, but that's the same board. Why is it double? Distraction, y'all. Let me just remind you, a lot of the resources that we take advantage of from big corporations, we can do this stuff ourselves. Very simple things we can do ourselves. You don't have to buy nut milk from the store. You can buy a machine that can make your own nut milk within 8 minutes. And, I bought this machine and been making my own almond milk. I'm like, I've been really, much as I study and dig deep in things, I never really, I saw videos on how to make your nut milk and all of the stuff. It was just, to me, it was just too difficult. But now, since I have this machine, I take about half a cup of nuts and put it in there with my water. 8 minutes, I have what I need. Strain that out, and that one batch will last me a few days. But I bought a big bag of almonds, and I'm about 2 pounds of it. And I bought those a couple of weeks ago, and I'm still using that same. I still have a lot. I probably could make about another 4 or 5 jars of milk out of it. I got the mason jars, and one batch will fill about half of those big mason jars. Half. But DEI was a distraction. Oh, he's taking something to make people feel like they're losing something they already had. Not losing anything. And like I said, that rule, when you look at how they were enforcing, it is discriminatory. When you're going to hire someone based off of their, because mainly what it was for was, like I said, the white women was the number one benefactor, right? But if you're hiring somebody based off who they are and who they sleep with or what sexual preferences they have, that's discrimination. Because you're not looking at the range of, is this person qualified? And then you add the ingredient, well, this person is gay, let's hire him. That just making that determined because they're gay is discrimination. We don't need to know if someone's gay or not, if they can do the job. That's not necessary. But the thing is, can they do the job? I remember watching an Elon Musk video where they were interviewing Elon Musk, and he was telling them, yeah, I don't think we should hire people to do a job just because they're female or they have these other things going on. We need to hire them based on their credentials and whether they can do the job, especially in the military. I agree with that. Why are we hiring just because this person is gay? Why are we hiring because they're a woman or because they're black or whatever? Why are we doing that? Civil rights laws was necessary to a point way back then. And then again, it wasn't necessary because we were fighting to get into places we didn't need to be. We had our own bus companies back then. They went out of business because we were so busy marching and fighting to ride their buses, fighting to be in their restaurants. That was the part that I I never got that. Why am I, what kind of craziness is this that I'm gonna go out there and march and fight to eat in a restaurant where they don't want to serve me? And I gotta put this food in my mouth. That didn't make sense to me. Ever. Like I used to feel like, well, we fighting to eat in their restaurant because they don't want to eat, they don't want to feed us. Okay, bye. You're not gonna put your hands on my food. Well, I'm gonna eat. It didn't to me, that didn't show a degree of intelligence. To be fighting over something that we can do for ourselves. To be fighting to ride on buses where we had our own bus companies back then. There was plenty of black owned bus companies. Why did they go out of business? Because we wanted that. We're strange people, you know? So here it is. Oh, it was a background music, Sean? Okay, I got you. I forgot to turn it all the way down, but it's off now. All right, so number 3, Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, of 1990. These are all laws that are in place to help protect people with disabilities. So if you own an establishment, you got to have in handicap access. So prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities. Affirmative action policies encourages diversity in schools and workplaces through some aspects, though some aspects have been challenged in courts. Executive orders. Some executive orders require federal contractors and agencies to promote DEI efforts. Is DEI a legal requirement? For federal contractors and agencies, many DEI related policies require for organizations that work with the federal government. And so he took all of that out, right? For private companies, there is no federal law that mandates DEI programs. So DEI was never a law that can be enforced legally. But companies may implement them to comply with anti-discrimination laws and improve workplace culture. In schools and universities, DEI policy exists, but they have faced legal challenges such as the Supreme Court ruling against affirmative action in college admissions. When you think about it, if you are basing your admissions to a college based on the color of their skin, that is discrimination. That's because it's not basing it solely on the the qualifications of the candidate applying. I know we have to have these, you know. No, we don't. We don't need all that. We really don't. Because if you're smart enough, you make it happen on your own. Maybe, was it necessary years ago? Probably, to a degree it was. But now we got all of those laws in place, right? All of those laws in place. But look at the black community as a whole. We're at the bottom. So those laws did not help us. See, when you put a person in a position where they have to sink or swim, they do a whole lot better. But when you start giving them handouts or, you know, pushing them to the front of the line solely because of the color of their skin, the very thing we say we're against, we are for when it comes to these types of policies. I know some people won't disagree with me. Well, they wouldn't let us do this. They wouldn't. I think it's safe to say, with all of these policies in place, it hasn't really protected our interests at all or benefited us as a people on a whole. Some people might have gotten some benefit of it, but on a whole, it's distraction. Because if we worked together, we wouldn't need any of that. Worked as a team. So DEI, it wasn't a law that can be removed. It was a policy. It was a concept, a broad concept that they made up. And then now it wasn't just for supposedly for black folks, but now it's for all of these other groups. Those are the ones that was getting the benefit. You see? So where am I? Where's my chat? So what do y'all think about that? What do y'all think? All right. And when pastors are getting up there, oh, we're gonna boycott this, man. That ain't gonna do that. That is not gonna really help. That little bit of money they're gonna lose, they'll get it back. And they're gonna go after that church because simply he's a 501c3 church. They're going after him. I think and then you had side groups like this nonprofit that just ratted them out because he made that announcement. Like, wow, that's crazy. You get some non-government group that just comes up and says, yeah, go after them, IRS, because they can do that. They'll take your nonprofit status, the one that you apply for, away from you. Yeah. What do y'all think? I'm waiting for y'all in the chat. Oh, let me find my because I was gonna get on TikTok and we're gonna talk about this Tower of Babel thing. Tower of Babel. Who do y'all? I remember that when I was watching that old video, that reminded me of when I talked about that. So God came along and He said, "Oh, these people doing too well. We got to stop them because they nothing they can't do." So here's the thing: what confuses me about that a little bit is God is all knowing. Why did He didn't know until like too late until that city was built? That gives me the impression that He wasn't even around to see it. He was gone for a long time. And He came back, whoa, hey. And then He said, let us confuse their language to stop them and make them spread out. You ever thought about that? Sean said, you are absolutely right, brother. He said, I think Jamal Bryant is an agent of confusion. I think so. When he said, oh, sell all of your stock, I was like, is he nuts? I'm going to sell my stock because they don't want to do DEI programs no more. And I can sit there and hold on to the stock and I'm going to lose money. That didn't make sense to me. See, but when you don't understand how rules and laws work and when you don't see the fact that a lot of these terms that they come up with are distractions, they're not real. Although people enforce them like they're real. Remember, one of the things that I can compare that to is when COVID hit and they were making everybody read, they mandated people wearing masks, right? They said it's a mandate that you wear a mask. But when y'all remember the show I did it back in when it first I read the actual mandate. It was never required to wear a mask in that mandate. It was working on the honor system. People would just voluntarily put it on. It said it specifically. You didn't have to wear the mask. But what happened? Just like DEI, everybody ran with that because they were talking about, oh, he's doing this and he's doing that. Y'all don't understand. Presidents don't pass laws, so he can't. Since he don't pass them, he can't void them. In order to get a law off the books, it has to be repealed, and that goes before a vote in Congress. But he can get rid of policies, a system that's not connected to any laws. He could just say, y'all can't do that no more. Why can't he say that? Why can't he say that? Because he's the commander in chief of the federal government. He's the commander in chief of the military. So he can do that. Hey, y'all, like a president of a corporation. Well, these policies we were following, we're not going to do that anymore. But of course, the news media likes to put batteries in people's backs and spin it in a way like you're going to be harmed by this. I can promise you, black folks ain't going to, this is not going to affect black folks one way or the other. I promise you. And far as I can tell, all of the stuff like they cut out some of these spendings, the people that I see complaining are all his very constituents, the ones that voted for him, white folks. I ain't seen one. I see black people complaining, but they were complaining from a distance, meaning they were complaining where it didn't even affect them. But the people that really had it affected, it was people that looked just like them. So what I say to black, just sit back and get your popcorn and relax. Because we good. Watch it. Just sit back and watch. Listen, but one thing we need to start doing is working together. Like you said earlier, the need to be included is an exception of the lie, and pastors just as dumb. Yeah, we don't need to be included in none of the stuff they do. I think, shoot, let me just, when it comes to cooking food as a whole, as a people, the more we get away from the old days, this is not true. But overall, when it comes to cooking some food, black folks got it. We got that on lock. That's why we so picky when we go to people's houses and we go to places and see, we like, man, this ain't even seasoned right. We good. So we never need anybody to cook for us. We never need anybody to get our food. We decided to depend on grocery stores. We got homes in places where we couldn't grow gardens, but now they got hydroponics. You can grow vegetables right in your living room, in an apartment, or in somewhere where you can't grow anything. We are a rich poor society, and here's what I mean by that. You go to the other countries. Go to the other countries like Honduras, Mexico, Costa Rica, Jamaica, it's Dominican Republic. And I'm going to pick out two countries that I've been to: Costa Rica, and I've been to all the ones I mentioned, but Costa Rica specifically, and Honduras specifically. Their food is literally in their backyard, everywhere. When I went to Costa Rica, there was mangoes growing from just about everywhere you looked. Coconuts, everywhere you turned your head, there was some fruit growing on a tree. But yet they think America is the land of the home and free, and we the rich country. No, we did a good job fronting that we are a rich country, because we use fiat currency, so that's fake money. The country's been bankrupt since what, 1933. So there really isn't any money. But we have done a good job creating an illusion that we rich. Those countries that we're calling poor are really rich because they don't have to, if they really didn't want to, they don't need to go to a grocery store. They just go get that stuff off the tree, their coconut, their mangoes and whatever else, they bananas, whatever, and eat that. And if they got some cattle or things like that, it's on the trees. Now, in places like Colombia or one of my friends is from one of these countries, Cuba. Now those people are poor because the government doesn't allow them to do agriculture on the individual level. They have to get everything from the government. So if they get caught with a cow or trying to grow something, they can go to jail in countries like that. But these other countries I mentioned, I remember a long time ago, I went to Jamaica. First time I ever left the country, I went to Jamaica, and I paid for a session with a jet ski, right? So the brother that was helping with the jet skis, he was looking at me like, "Yo, man, y'all doing good over there. I'm trying to get over there, but they won't let me. This, that, and the other. Y'all got it going on." And I could see his demeanor, like he feel like he was losing out on something, like he was in his desperate place. And this is what I mean. We could lose the lack of appreciation of our surroundings. So I had to remind them. I was like, listen, brother, you don't know what life is like in the United States. I said, check this out. I said, look at that tree right there. That's a coconut, right? I said, look at your water. It's clear, right? Do you understand? I paid money to come to your country to enjoy your water and your trees. Why did I do that? Because they're not in my country. It's not like this there. They have made it so that we can't see food on a tree. We can only see food in a grocery store. Do y'all realize this country did have trees that grew the same things that were in these other countries? But what happened? Agriculture, industry cleared out the lands, took over, and then big farms came in, and they're the ones who's producing food to sell to you, to put on your table. Y'all realize that's what happened. They took, remember I told you about the census that I found of my family. All of them were farmers right there in Winsboro, South Carolina. The home my aunt grew up with is still on that land, the very home. Who passed at 105. So this country systematically took our ability away from us to be able to just go outside and grab your fruits and vegetables off of a tree. Y'all remember, if y'all can remember, you had relatives that had apple trees and pear trees, and some of them had orange trees in their backyards. But because we've been systematically programmed away from sustaining our own sustenance and covering and allowing the government to trick us into accepting what they got to offer. So I'm telling the brother, let me go back to what I was saying. So I'm saying, brother, you are rich. Because what do I need to survive on this planet? I don't need a fancy car. I don't even need millions of dollars. The one thing I can't live without is water, clean water, and food. And I mean, I need shelter, right? Those three things. That's all I need to survive. And I said, look, the food you're eating, someone is preparing that with their hands that you know, and you're eating, or you're preparing it for yourself. And he was like, yeah, man, I go fishing. I take my spear, I go down there and I just catch my fish. well, I don't live in a big house and all that. I said, I get it. I said, but think about this, living in a country where you are not able to just swim in that water and grab your fish, and you're homeless, or you live in something less than desirable. Yeah, I can promise you, your situation would be much worse. At least you could go swim in that clean water and grab you some, and you'll have your food. So, dude, I paid lots of money to come here and do what you do for free every day. So, somebody said that's why I don't watch the news. Nothing but lies. It is. It's one big joke. The news is a joke. It's a play they putting on. The Tower of Babel was to me the reason man was kicked out of the garden. They showed that they was like God, able to do whatever they desired. They took the trades like building, house, welding, and said, yeah, they took all the trades out of the school, and they took them out on purpose. Because I remember when I was young, we had trade schools. I went to a trade school, high school. I went to a trade high school, Chelsea Vocational. It taught you electronics, electrical. Electronics and electrical are two different things. Electronics teach you how to build radios and, deal with transistors and stuff like that. Whereas electrical was, home commercial electricity and residential electricity. And then you had woodworking. And then they had welding also. It was one other trade that they taught in the high school. So that's how come I know about electricity, because the first year in high school, you get to experience all of those different trades to see what you want to take the next 3 years of your high school stay. You say, okay, I like electrical, so I'm going to do electrical. And then they had programs where you were already inside of a union and you have a job getting out of high school. But then they came and promoted, hey, you needed a college degree, stop working with your hands and start reading and get literate and get these degrees. When most of the degrees that you get today, most people are not working in that field. And degrees that do pay the good money, you have to go to school for a considerable amount of years. Like to be a nurse, I think that's 4 years, right? But you could do a 2-year LPN program. But to be RN, you have to get a degree. And then in you got engineering, you have lawyers, then you have doctors. That's what, 8 years of school. But at the same time, while you're going to school, you're working. So most of those guys got heavy student loan debts. Big time, over, close to $1 million worth of student loan debt. 600,000 and up to become a doctor. Imagine that, facing with that kind of bill. That's why they have to work themselves to death, these emergency rooms and stuff like that. Well, anyway, stop being tricked by DEI, because all this DEI, he's doing this, he's taking that. No, he can't take away a law. Those are just a concept that everybody's fighting over. So, but hey, guess what? Y'all might be getting $2,000. I think that's the most any president is giving out when it came to just giving some money away. $2,000 per person. That ain't bad. Y'all know you're gonna have to pay that taxes on that when y'all do get it, right? So just know that y'all gonna pay them taxes. Anyway, all right. Let me see if I can get my TikTok link. And we're gonna talk about this Tower of Babel for a little bit. Ta-da.
On August 8th, 2023, officers
All right. So where is my TikTok link? Okay, there's my profile. How do I? Oh, there it is. Copied. I'm gonna put it in Instagram, and I'm gonna put. Not Instagram. In our Messenger, and then I'm gonna put it in Telegram. That's what I meant to say. I'm on Telegram. Where are you? All right. Put it in the Hindsight link. Here we go. There's a TikTok link in there. So give me about 5 minutes. I'll be all set up. But I see some of y'all agreed. He said we had wood shop, auto shop. Yeah, auto shop. That's the other one. Metal shop. Yeah. And CAD drafting when I was in high school. Right. Yeah. They got college programs now. You can become a diesel mechanic. I didn't know they could do that. They had that. Become a diesel. You go to college for that or schools for it. My brother went to become a diesel mechanic. He's the one who works on my trucks whenever they need work. All right, there you have DEI is a sham. It's fake. Fake news. Like your boy Trump liked to say. He says fake news. All right, so I guess I'll see y'all if y'all gonna join me on TikTok so we can have this debate about. I don't know if it's a debate, just a critical thinking discussion about the Tower of Babel. All right, I'll see y'all there. Peace. They said the first franchise opened in 1952. So he was 71 years old. And why can't you do that? Do something. 71. But here's it. Before he got to that point, he was doing other things. Do you think that he thought he was going to have a Kentucky Fried Chicken franchise? He just was serving. He just decided. This is how ideas work. He decided to have a filling station, which is a gas station, and serve food. And he used recipes from his childhood that he learned and was serving that. It morphed into the franchise after many years. So I said 37, 52 was when the first franchise opened up. And that's how all ideas work. It starts somewhere and then it ends up this big idea. But it started off with a little idea, bunch of little ideas put together. That's why I said there is no excuses, because most people, when they want to do something, they're thinking about, I want to be where Kentucky Fried Chicken is today. Well, if you want to be where Kentucky Fried Chicken is today, you have to put in some time and effort and some years, because that's what